So Shayan was about 4.5 years old when he was diagnosed with neuroblastoma cancer. He, it was a tough kind of sudden information that we got, and we struggled as a family to kind of figure out what we wanted to do. But the doctors were phenomenal. They actually came back with a very good plan for him. It was an 18-month. They actually had 3 phases of cycle. It was a chemo, and they had to do a surgery to remove his adrenal gland, and then they had to kind of go through and do the radiation therapy to kill the cells around it. Then they had to take his own stem cells, freeze it, and give it back rather than a donor. So his stem cells were pretty good. So they took it, and that was the toughest of all because it just drained everything out of him.
I remember the first day he was in the hospital, and I tried to remember and try to make the most of it. I just walked into the room, and I was thinking in my head, I should probably remember this day.
His symptoms were like he was having fevers. It started in the end of December of 2013, and we just came from India after being in India for like 4 years. So when he was having fevers, we thought, okay, he was adjusting to the cold weather in here. Maybe it was a flu, and so we took him to the doctor. So they gave him like antibiotic for the first couple of weeks, and then he was okay for a week, and then he got the fever again in January, the middle of January again. And then we took him back again, and they said it's a viral fever. So this continued for like month of January, February, March, and then by April it was like we were like nowhere. His fevers were persistent. It was coming back. It goes for 10 days, it comes back again.
My mom and my dad visited, and she was trying to touch his neck, and she said there's some knots in his neck. Like, what is that? And so we had a few friends who were doctors, and we kind of reached out to them, and they said, it might be TB because you guys came back from India, so why don't you just take an x-ray and see? So when we took an x-ray, the lymph nodes were kind of all pretty enlarged. They said 2 reasons the lymph nodes get enlarged is, one is, if there's cancer cells, it gets enlarged, or there's some significant infection inside the body that gets enlarged. So they saw that, and they said, okay, we're going to go do a CT scan that same day. So we did a CT scan that same day, and around, I think it was April 16th, right?
April 17th.
17th, at like 2:30 or 3:30, the doctor called us, and the crazy thing was, the doctor was crying, and took a lot to tell us, and I didn't know what happened. Why is she crying? What's wrong? And so then she explained that we have to get admitted right away.
It was kind of alone without Shayan. Shanaz was left doing her homework, and my grandparents were doing their own thing, so I was really bored most of the time. And whenever Shayan did come home from the hospital, he was too tired or sick, and I was really sad that he wasn't there the whole time.
Yeah, right now Shayan has been cancer-free for a year right now, and we'll be having a scheduled visit every 6 months just to make sure that it's not coming back. So we did our part, and we are happy, and he's no longer in medicines or anything. So just giving him healthy food and organic foods to eat, doing our best part. And this is having a cancer in our family is like the hardest thing that anyone can go through.
I don't know if my parents know this, but my sister and I both admire him a lot. He's a great brother, I guess you could say.
Now that he's much better, we can play all the time, and so we have a lot of fun. It's better than having Shayan being in the hospital all day long.
We do love him.
You love your sisters too, right? So Shayan, he loved Disney Planes movie, and the crop duster was built by these guys from Flight Test, and they built it with a foam, and they were flying it, and it was great, and he started watching that. I said, do you want to kind of fly some of these small planes. So he said yes, and I got him one of the Abusan quadcopter. He started flying that in the hospital, and he started getting very good at it because he was in the hospital literally almost 2 to 3 weeks in a month. I decided during his treatment to take him to Flight Fest in 2015. So we went, and Shayan basically was just screaming when he saw the Josh and all these guys. He saw them in video and he saw them face to face. He was just like going crazy about it. And then we went to IRCHA in 2015, and that was all professional helicopter guys, and man, it was just like we were awed by what was going on there. And so the 2015 was more still in treatment. He was absorbing what was going on, how things are kind of working through it. And then what happened was this past year, he was done with all his treatment. It was almost 6 months after his therapy was completely done. So then we went back to Flight Fest, and so he met with Josh and Alex, and they kind of walked up to him and said, hey, can you do a 5-minute demo? And so we were nervous and wasn't sure whether he could do that, because about 3 months before that is when he started doing a lot of this 3D kind of flying with his helicopter. We went back, and he did a 5-minute demo. They recorded, 1,400 people watched him. And so that's the first time he actually got down inverted and cut the grass, and everybody was clapping. And that basically motivated him a lot. So then finally we went to IRCHA 2016 up in Muncie, Indiana at the AMA headquarters. We walked up to Jack Burnside, the CEO of the Gawi USA team, the Empire Hobby, and said I want to fly for Gawi. And Jack said, how old are you? He said 7. So Jack said, look, my youngest pilot I've ever taken is 9 years old, and we are not at this point kind of planning to take any more team pilots. So Gawi actually does an annual team fly that they do it in IRCHA with just their team members alone. So they all walked up, and they were actually flying right in the pilot station that we were sitting off of. And Shayan got up, walked back to Jack again, and said, why can't I kind of get to your team? Can you see me fly? So Jack said, okay, fine, go ahead. So Jack did the introduction. He asked his name and his age, and he introduced him to the team. And Shayan took the Gawi X5, and he was flying it out, and he was doing pretty good. And almost close to the end of the second minute, what happened is one of his ball link on the back of the helicopter popped out, and the helicopter crashed. And I could see Shayan in tears, he wanted to show all of that stunts that he wanted to do. And so I told him, you know what, it's okay, we'll go pick it up, we'll go fix it, and we'll do it again. So Shayan and I were walking towards to go pick the helicopter, and I suddenly turn around and I could not see Shayan because all the guys were carrying him all the way. I was so happy, it's like seeing him in pain for 2 years, seeing so many people kind of rooting for him and so happy. That made my day and my week. And so we walked back, and we saw the whole team carried him. And the amazing thing happened because the whole team came in, and Jack said, look, we're going to get his helicopter fixed. So they took it, they worked almost round the clock, got it fixed, and so they had a team event next day evening at 4 o'clock, which they do it, only their team pilots do a demo with all the people being there. And so Jack said, hey, you know what, Chan, just come sit there. We're not sure whether we're going to let you fly, but and Jack actually on the center stage introduced Shayan, and so he ended up actually flying. At the end of the flight, Jack came back to him and said, hey, you know what, you're going to become a honorary team member of Gawi. So we were, and I had to explain it to him, and then he's like, oh, sure, okay, so I made the team then, right? So we said, yes, you made the team. So so we walked, and basically we were talking to a bunch of other people. And at the time, we went into the Oxy helicopter team and met with Rich Knapp who was their team manager, team pilot manager. And I had actually introduced Shayan through Facebook to Rich and Luca, who is the owner of Oxy Heli CEO. And when we walked there and said, hey, you know what, this is Shayan, we wanted to meet. And man, the people in this hobby are just so phenomenal. Immediately Rich said, we've already decided to make him a team pilot. We saw some of his videos online. We want to make him in. So, you know, they basically gave him all the team shirt and cap and said, get ready to basically be part of our demo as well. And, so just when we walked out of Vircha, we went with nothing and we walked with 2 companies actually sponsoring Shayan as a team pilot in there.
Keep flying, you never give up.